Hello, back again. This one's going to be a quick one because when I finished Trader's Purse and spun the wheel again, I got Allingham. So I'm starting book 12. I think it's book 12. Yeah, book 12, Corner's Pigeon, by Marjorie Allingham. Which I don't have in print. That's one of the two books in the series that I don't actually have a print copy of. So I won't have it to hold up. My guess is that if I had it in the stack, it would look like this, just with different text on the front. So Trader's Purse, I think, is my favorite of the series so far. It's very sensational. So it's much less about a murder mystery. It's more of a spy thriller. So this series follows Mr. Campion, Albert Campion. He is an aristocrat who goes under an assumed name, so we don't know his real name, although at one point early in the series, one of the aristocratic ladies from his mom's generation calls him Rudolph. So apparently that's at least part of his name, or something associated with Rudolph. But we don't know his name. We don't know which aristocratic family he comes from. We know that they're a family that would be embarrassed if everyone knew that their younger son was doing police-type investigation work. It's not as bad as Inspector Lindley from the Elizabeth George books, who is an aristocrat and has a job where he actually works at a police station as a detective. His family really took some convincing on that one, and they keep trying to convince him that he doesn't need a job and that he should just be a man of leisure and stop embarrassing everyone. So similar sort of character, and a lot of the stories remind me of P.G. Wodehouse, the Wooster and Jeeves series. Although Wooster is not a detective. He just gets in a lot of scrapes and has to solve, whatever the problem is. But there's no murders. They're just, missing things or misunderstandings that result in poor Wooster being engaged to someone accidentally. That's a total bad idea. It's amazing how often he ends up engaged. And then there's also the Dorothy Sayers books, the Lord Peter Wimsey. He's another aristocrat. And all of these aristocrats, except Linley, have a manservant or a loyal male friend. In this case, it's more of a loyal male friend, although we get the impression that he might be a long-standing servant to his family. But in his guise as Mr. Campion, he doesn't have such things. So Ludd is just a friend. And he happens to show up and play butler or guard or whatever it is that they need. So he's kind of the eyes and ears for Mr. Campion. And gets him out of trouble sometimes. Very much like Jeeves in the Jeeves and Wooster stories. And the butler in the Dorothy Sayers books. In that one, the butler is actually someone that I think he saved Peter Wimsey when they were both in the same military unit or something like that. One way or the other. One of the two saved the other one. And so they have a bond forged in battle, and so they're stuck together for the rest of their lives by mutual bond. So there's always that kind of pairing in this kind of structure. So it's that kind of book. I like the spy thriller element. In this one, Mr. Campion comes to having been knocked unconscious and lost his memory. It's during, I think, World War I. I'm not sure about which war, but I'm guessing World War I because they haven't referred to it as the First War. It's just the war. So I'm guessing that we're in World War One, but I really couldn't say for sure just from the story itself. I was focused too much on the story rather than clues for setting. Yeah. So it obviously wasn't so important which war. I think World War One. They have vehicles. It wasn't really about planes though. So yeah, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, so it's that kind of story. In this one, there's some sort of espionage plot that Campion's gotten too close to, and he has to retain his memory or get enough clues or both to find the people responsible and stop the horrible plot before it goes too far. So yeah, that's this one. The one I'm starting now is Coroner's Pigeon, in which so far Campion is on his way to the train station. I believe train station. He's on his way to the taxi that's taking him to where he's going so that he can get married finally to his beloved Amanda that he's been engaged to for a while now. And he's been waiting for this for 4 years. He's finally on his way. He's dressed. He's leaving. And some people show up and leave a dead body in his bed. So that's where I'm at right now. That's the first scene. So not really a spoiler. You'll get to it in the first scene. And from there on out, we'll see what happens. So anyway, I will be doing that audiobook at least probably for the next hour plus this one. Because I'm trying to also finish this blanket. I'll show you what I've been working on. So this is the blanket I've been working on. It's a crochet along blanket. And it's just a center start. Let me see if I can get the whole thing, or at least enough of it in the screen. So that's what I'm working on. And it's really hard to do without an audiobook. I can do print books if it's a book that will stay flat and open, but these old paperbacks would fall apart if I rigged them so they would stay open. So that's not going to happen. Yeah, so hopefully I'll finish at least this section of this blanket during this audiobook, and then I'll go back to print books because I do want to finish the ones I've started, and then go from there. Probably start one or two more if I can finish the 3 other print books that I've got here. We'll see what happens from there. Hope everyone's readathon is going well. Yeah, I did go through and make my top 10 lists for fiction and nonfiction in Discord, which took me a while. Yeah, it's amazing how hard it is to come up with a list of 10 favorite books. It's easier in nonfiction. Although even then, after I finished the list and posted it, like, oh, I forgot about that book and that book. Yeah, so the caveat being it's my top 10 today. In this part of today. Probably not even by the end of today. But yeah, that's kind of a fun exercise. So there's that, and one other thing over on Discord. I'm calling them queries. Basically asking for books in certain categories, favorites, and then books by people from countries that start with A through D, or set in countries from A through D, where the country's name is A through D. So Argentina, Bolivia, Cambodia. Do I know a D? I probably do. Anyway, you get the point. Do I know a country with that starts with D? Denmark. Yay, I know a country that starts with D. There's not as many as I thought there were. So if you have any ideas for that, that's going to be towards the Between Readathons activity that I'll be posting tomorrow. That will keep everybody occupied between this readathon and the one in April, because I know there's a really long gap between this one and April. Rather than start a new readathon, we're just going to stick with having a Between Readathons activity. So be thinking about books set in different countries or by authors from different countries, because that will be a clue as to what we're doing between now and April. And I will get back to my book and my blanket, and I'll check back in with you guys in probably 2 more hours and see how things are going. The next scheduled reading sprint will be in hour 16, which is coming up. So when we get there, I will possibly be making a video before it. We'll see. And yeah, everybody's starting to trail off and go to bed. I can tell the East Coast people are getting tired. So it'll get a little bit quieter. But hopefully some of the folks from the other side of the planet are waking up again. So I know we have a lot of Europeans this time and some New Zealanders, maybe Australia. I don't remember if I've seen Australia yet. I know we have a lot of people that were up in the wee hours when it was just me, and they were wide awake. So hopefully they'll come back on and keep me company while all of the people from my continent are asleep. So talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.